Hi, welcome back. I'm Alaina Schwartz. Do you always feel like you have too much to do? Well, what to do when you have too much to do? In this video, I'm going to unpack exactly what to do so you can collapse time and get so much more done in less time. So let's dive right in. First, I'll show you how to deal with this one thing that's causing you to take so much longer to do everything than it should. Then I'm going to reveal the number one thing to help you collapse time. Next, we'll go over why you're procrastinating doing the meaningful things and spending so much time on the things that aren't moving the dial forward. And of course, we don't want to leave out all of the things that you actually want to do, so how to build those into your schedule as well. Next, I'm going to uncover the one word that's keeping your to-do list never ending. And by the end of this video, you'll have the tools and strategies that allow you to knock out your to-do list in record time. So let's get started. Okay, now this video is going to be a little touchy-feely here, right? So one of the key things is to get present and notice the sensations that you feel inside yourself around your to-do list. Here's the key to understand. When you're in some form of stress, overwhelm, frustration, anger, whatever you want to call it, right? Which brings up a lot of feelings around our to-do lists and the fact that it feels like it's never ending, where you start the morning and it feels like your to-do list is as long at the end of the day, if not longer than when you started your day, right? So it feels like it's natural to have all of these feelings around your to-do list. But when you're in some form of those feelings, so I'm going to call them lower vibration negative feelings, you're in your sympathetic nervous system, which means you're in some form of fight, flight, or freeze. Now, when you're in fight, flight, or freeze, there's no way that you can access creative ideas, inspiration, higher levels of intelligence. It all becomes inaccessible to you because those states and those things are accessed from your parasympathetic nervous system. So one of the first things that I help my clients do is move into their parasympathetic nervous system so they get out of that stress and overwhelm and they're able to actually collapse tons of time in the process. I'll give you a really quick example of how I did this for myself years ago. So several years ago, I was working with a coach and I was only putting out social media content once a week. And she told me that I needed to put social media content out 3 times a week, but it was taking me 2 hours to write one post. So now all of a sudden, I was working all the time. I hadn't mastered time yet. I wasn't teaching people how to master their time yet. And so 6 hours a week for writing content. I was like, how am I going to get anything done with 6 hours a week writing content? And one of the things I realized is this exact thing that I'm telling you right now. And so I shifted it up so that I said, okay, what are the top 3 things that I do that help me get into out of my head, because I was very heady at the time, so out of my head and actually into my body, right? Into the feeling sense so that I could be coming from a different place, coming from my parasympathetic nervous system. And there were 3 things for me. The first one was dancing. The second one is coaching my clients, because I'm very present when I coach my clients. And the third one was meditating. Now, I didn't want to spend a lot of time meditating, and I obviously couldn't write content right after coaching my clients. So I started dancing. I'd put on a tune, I'd start dancing my butt off, and then I'd sit down to write. And in a month time, I went from it taking me 6 hours to write those 3 posts to an hour and a half. Now it takes me far less time than that, but that's what's possible for you to collapse time. And imagine if every task you could shave half to 3/4 of your time off of taking those tasks and collapse that time, how much time you would save in your schedule. One of the keys is tuning into your intuition, tuning into your higher self, and understanding exactly what you should be doing. When I say should, I don't mean with the shoulds, but I mean what's in your highest good to actually do. Because when you function from a place of what's in my highest good to do, you do collapse time. You manage to get so much more done in less time. So really practice tuning into your intuition, because that Intuitive guidance is accessible to us on demand. And when you start running your business from that intuitive guidance, it makes everything you do so much easier because you move into flow states rather than being in constant hustle. And again, that hustle mentality is what puts you in your sympathetic nervous system to begin with. Now I'm going to show you a pretty fun tool that I wish I could take credit for, but I read Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People showed how to do. And it's a fantastic tool to realize how much time you're actually wasting. So follow me over here. Okay, we have 4 quadrants here. We have urgent, we have not urgent, we have important, and we have not important. And so the 2 places that you really want to be spending your energy are these 2 boxes, quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. So on the things that are urgent and important, and the things that are not urgent but are still really important. And here's a really big key to doing this. When you start identifying the things that are really important, like relationship building, like finding new opportunities, like personal growth, I would say personal growth is the #1 thing to be focused on that will make the rest of your business effortless and your to-do list gone. And then recreational stuff. Like when we actually focus on the things that are important and really make sure we're getting the important things done, we have far less urgent things. Right? That's really the key, is the more you focus on what's important, the less things are urgent. Because typically it's those urgent things that tend to put us into fight, flight, or freeze again, tend to put us back into our sympathetic nervous system. So being able to actually focus on what's important, but the urgent things are like things that are in crisis mode or pressing problems or deadline types of projects, right? And so these are the 2 quadrants to focus on the most. Now the 3rd quadrant, which are like interruptions, emails, calls, meetings, there's a place for those kinds of things, but you determine the place for them rather than them determining the place for themselves, right? So when you build in blocks, one of the things that I have my clients do is really focus on focus blocks, actually. So it's like grouping like-minded things together. And I mean like-minded, I mean things that take the same part of the brain to actually do. So let's say, for example, you're recording a whole bunch of videos. You would script out your outlines first, right? Those are like-minded things that are taking the same parts of the brain, and then you would record a whole bunch of videos in a row. So because if you're going from scripting out an outline to recording to scripting out an outline to recording, it's taking so much more time. Your brain has to keep switching, functioning, and that takes a lot longer to get into that flow state. Whereas when you're working with like-minded things, it makes you collapse time. Now, you build in a block to take care of all of these things so that they're getting done. Because I can tell you, most of what people think are urgent in these emails and calls and meetings are not. They're not urgent. They really are not going to burn down the house, right? Or burn down your business in this case. And so you want to build these in, but do it in a time that works from you. And honestly, well, I wouldn't say, pleasant activities where it's like, it's not very fulfilling. You don't really get juiced from doing it, but you do it anyway. Like, eliminate this stuff. Eliminate the stuff that's not urgent and not important. And you'll have so much more energy, because I can tell you, so many people spend time here and spend time here rather than spending time here and here. Now here's a key: delete distractions. I'm going to be talking a lot about this in the next couple of videos, but delete distractions, because distractions are one of the biggest time sucks I see in my clients and in people I talk to. I have my clients do what I call a holy crap time audit. And the reason that I call it that is because when people see how they actually spend their time, it's like, holy crap, right? You're wasting hours a day on distractions. So delete distractions and make sure you tune in to the next couple of videos, because in the next video I'll be giving you part 2 and even more tips on how to slay that distraction. And in another video I'll actually be showing you, taking a really deep dive in how to eliminate distractions for good.